Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit or arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So channel members, you will have a collective message that's posted later tonight, possibly early tomorrow. If you're interested in that, definitely check that out. If you're not a channel member and you'd like to be a channel member, that link is always in the description box below. We will be starting the 22 Major Arcana series later this week. And personal readings are up. There's a very limited number of spaces for personal readings each week, so check that out. If you tend to check them out and you can't get one, just know that I post them very close to 12 p.m. each Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. However, it's going to be a little weird around here for the next few weeks. I do forget. I also do forget sometimes. We got to keep it surprising around here. I got to keep you on your toes. Yeah, so things are going to get a little interesting over the next few weeks around here. Definitely major life changes taking place. All good. But yeah, huge. So I'm gonna do my best with the balancing act that's about to ensue. So okay, so let's go ahead. Now, as I stepped into this space and I started writing these things out, this was a little confusing for me. I'm not going to lie, because this energy is pretty big. This is very big and it's deeply buried. And so I really want to say, no, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Remember that my messages are not meant to tell you something that you don't know. I feel that this message is going to... it's going to be something that confirms something for somebody, or at least lets them understand that they're not the only one going through this right now, okay? For some of you, it might provide insights. So if you recognize yourself as part of this collective, but you don't necessarily notice the obstacle that I'm talking about, you may still want to watch this, just in case you can gather some sort of inspiration or insights from this reading. Okay, so I just want to real quick talk about who I'm talking about for this reading first before I get into all this, because there's a lot to unpack here. I'm speaking to a collective who really resonates with the more magical side of things. So for example, feeling like you might be a mystic, feeling like you're a medium or a shaman or a magus, magi, magician, priest, priestess, those sorts of energies, right? Those sort of foundational energies of what creates a spiritual culture or spiritual people. So that's who I'm speaking to for this reading. Now we'll get a little bit deeper into it and you can recognize further if this is for you or if it's not for you. When I opened up for this, initially what they showed me was they showed me this valley and they showed me this lake, and over the lake I was seeing these stars in the sky. It was a night sky, and it was the Milky Way galaxy, but not the Milky Way galaxy now. And I thought that was interesting. So what that says to me is that they're speaking to me about the passage of immense time. So not just the passage of time, but an immense amount of time. So that tells me there's a story that's taking place. And this feels a lot like the beginning and the end, like our life story, right? Our lives. Something that has repeated over lifetimes. As I'm saying that, I'm being told to go ahead and give the symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and give the symbols, and then we have to go back to that again. So the symbols are triangle, the eye, right? Whether you, it might be the eye of Horus, it might be the eye of Providence, it might be, whatever. It's the eye. Sun with rays, which then connects to the next one, which is the god Aten. The desert. Hyena, you're noticing a theme. Fox and coyote together. A cylinder seal. Wind chimes. A metal butterfly. And an old silver coin. Okay. So, going back. As I was like staring at it and I was feeling this immense sense of time, the Milky Way disappeared into 3 constellations. The constellations were the Phoenix, the Snake, the Butterfly. And these constellations were just circling over and over and over. And I need to drink my coffee. I got this when I went to the Ark in in Kentucky. My dad is very much about it, and so I went down there with him last spring because I knew he would really enjoy it. And you know what? They have animals in there that are fake, and I thought the bats were real. And I was standing there talking about how cute the bats were until somebody came up behind me and were like, "They're not real." Anyway, so with these constellations, the phoenix, the snake, the butterfly going over and over, the phoenix really speaks to me about the magus or the magi energy, right? It's that in a lot of people that I know who really get into, who are really magicians, they really are, they have a point in their life where everything just gets destroyed, and then they have to rebuild themselves back up. With the snake, there is this energy of a medium, right? That transformative shedding of layers that people with mediumship abilities have to do in order to really connect with those abilities and to shed their layers of fear surrounding the dead, surrounding the unseen. We see that also with the shaman, right? The shaman is constantly regenerating themselves, reinventing themselves. The butterfly, that's the mystic. It spends time in the cocoon, isolated, and it trusts the process that it's undergoing, and then it emerges beautiful, like nothing else, like nothing like it was when it first went in. And so this is something about our soul signatures that we've had lifetimes, being the magus, being the medium, being the mystic, right? The three M's. And it seems like in this collective, whoever I'm speaking to, we are part of this, and this is why the triangle is coming up. We have embodied parts of this, all three of them in this life. I'm having a harder time speaking now because they are pushing me into a deeper state of trance in order to get this right, I think, because again, like I said, this is a very complex sort of energy for me to navigate. And so I'm definitely being shoved under just a little bit. So this may not be as smooth of a reading as you're used to. Okay. Okay. In this life, okay, so they were going to refer to this as soul signatures from here on out. So this is what's meant by soul signature: the signature of the magus, the signature of the mystic, the signature of the medium. We have all three of those signatures occurring simultaneously at this time, because this is the lifetime that it is the divine time. It's the divine time in our soul story where it was always going to happen, that we heal something here. And I'm seeing that is something taking place within the heart space. When we go to the magus, oftentimes the magus or the priest or the high priestess is engaged in a forbidden love. That forbidden love causes them to lose their lives, or causes them to lose their lover. Someone comes along and kills the lover, for example, out of punishment, or sometimes they are imprisoned and ensconced in like a tomb, or with the magus, in the case of like the myths of Merlin, inside of a crystal cave because of a betrayal from the lover. But there's this theme of having loved and having lost, having loved and having betrayed. With the medium and the shaman, oftentimes there's this sort of with the shaman, there's usually like a lover that is in spirit, right? And oftentimes people with mediumship abilities will also experience this sort of theme where their earthly relationships, their earthly loves are very much lacking, while their relationships in spirit are very enriching, right? So it's not just about romantic relationships. We're talking about all of our relationships. With the mystic, what we're talking about is somebody who usually is not permitted or doesn't want to experience love outside of themselves, because they're so committed and devoted to the love of finding God or seeking the divine, right? And either way you put it, there's this lack of love energy that's able to be expressed fully, and fully. It's something is taking place here, and this is kind of like giving me this cyclical nature, that this is something that our soul keeps coming back to, because and this is where it gets so complicated. This is something our soul keeps coming back to, and it has something to do with that creative merging with spirit, merging with the divine energy that all three of these archetypes embody, right? It's like It's like to get back into that divine state, because that divine state is bliss. It's very much a love energy. It transcends love, but in order to experience that transcendence of love, you have to first experience love, right? You have to go through the door to actually get to the other side. And so it's almost as though this is what's preventing this soul signature trio from being able to pass into a deeper mystery of self. There's something that has to be put behind us. I'm going to say that right now because of this. So when I first tried to lay out cards to read for this, I was having some very messy shuffles. You guys know that if I have messy shuffles, it means that the reading's really complicated, the energy is really complex. This card came out time and time and time and time again. And so it's telling me that there is this energy, there's something that we have yet to close the door on. I don't know if we've recognized this yet. Some of you will not, which is why I was very hesitant to put this is confirmation for somebody, because I'm very clearly feeling it's actually not going to be confirmation for some of you. The human, wants to say this is just confirmation, right? But for some of you, this might provide inspiration or insight into something that may be taking place that we haven't necessarily been able to key on. Some of you have, no, not some. This message is for a collective who has something in the past, whether it's in this life or other lives. Many of you, it's going to be this life that we thought we closed the door on. We thought we closed the door on this a long time ago, right? But in order to cause change, the door has to be completely closed. Now, this isn't speaking about in the 3D. This is speaking about in the heart space. There's something here that's still leaking energy out from us, and that maybe even be embedding energy into us. So for example, maybe, you had a relationship young, for example. That's usually when we have this sort of attachment to things. You had a relationship young, and, you fell in love with a person, and then this didn't work out or whatever. And, but that idea of that person is still something that you greatly cherish. We run into this sort of energy when we get too caught up in, two storylines, particularly. Not that you have to be either one of these, but this is where it's very common. It's common in people who believe in unrequited love, or I'm sorry, here we go. Yeah. Where are the words? Where are the words? Unconditional love, right? Because sometimes when we believe in these things, these ideas of, energies that we can exemplify, we take them in a way that they're not supposed to be. For example, never ending or closing out that love energy that we have for a person who is now in the past, right? As I'm saying this, okay, I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this. Why I'm saying this is because as I'm talking about closing this door, and that this is something that maybe we haven't necessarily recognized for some people, I got this song lyric stuck in my head. It's going like full blast too, which is making it even more difficult for me to talk. It's from I think it's from Gojira. I think it's from a band called Gojira. It is. Okay, it's from a band called Gojira. The song is called Shooting Star. Oh God, let me see if I can remember these lyrics. Okay, yes. It is I think this is how it goes. Everlasting love is ever growing. Take what you have and let it grow. Everlasting love is ever ending. Everlasting love is ever dying. It's in the past. You have to let it go. So it's the idea that when we have unconditional love for someone, it doesn't mean that we still cherish and hold on to the memories, right? We have the memories, we are fond of the memories, but we loosen our grip a little bit over those memories. There may be a grasp on some sort of memory, on some sort of idea, on some sort of connection from the past that is preventing us from being able to allow other things to come in, right? If this is occurring, it's not that it's just occurring in this life. I don't know why I said if this is occurring, because that's what this message is about. Again, there's like this weird hesitant energy, and I feel that I feel that this hesitant energy, because this is not normal for me, you guys know, this hesitant energy, it almost feels like that might be how we feel about even acknowledging this, right? We don't want to, it's almost like somebody doesn't want to acknowledge that this is happening with them. Um, and I don't know why. There's all sorts of reasons why that could be. As I'm saying that, there's like this emotional undertone to it. So with this, when we have those things that we're holding on to, and this is part of the soul signature, this is part of a repetitious pattern within our soul, right? Chances are all of the loves that we've had in these lives that we've lost, that we've been betrayed from, that we didn't get to have because we were isolated and we had to focus on this one thing, or they just all turned to crap because we're so imbued with spirit, the spiritual world, with like mediums, for example. And we are inundated with a slightly darker energy as mediums, and so this attracts darker energies towards us in the 3D. This is a story that repeats over and over, this idea of something that we thought was real, something that we loved, something that we cherished, something that we couldn't have, an idea that our heart space holds on to, because the heart is always looking for love, right? When we learn to turn that love into ourself, it doesn't mean that we stop wanting love. Like that, we have a biological thing happening inside of us as human beings, that we are looking for love. It doesn't mean you're sitting around, you're looking for it, and you're like, oh, I hope that I can date somebody, right? You might be more focused in your job. You might be more focused here. You might be more focused there. But typically, if there's a healthy heart space and that chakra's healthy, love is still something that is an option. It's something that you're open to, right? And with this, it's like there's this block, there's this lodge, and some of you, it might be man, I don't know, this is a very deep energy. Oh, like I'm being drawn to this card right here. Like we see all those chambers inside of that heart, right? All the different layers of that house. The central theme here is probably not going to show up. Is a clock. That clock has writing over it, and that writing is it's like written up and down, right? That's how they write in, I believe Arabic is written that way, right? And then no, Arabic isn't written that way. What language was that? I don't know, but Japanese is written that way, for example. Oh, there was what language from the Near East was written that way? Middle East. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It does matter, though. I feel like it matters. I think ancient Egyptian, didn't they do that at one point? They wrote things up like, I don't know. There's an importance to that for some reason. I'm getting hung up on it. There's an importance to that for some reason. Maybe that's a place where somebody had like a past life, and that's what, anyway, it doesn't, I can't keep going on that. Okay. And then there's also, for some of you, France is important also. I also want to point this out because those are wisterias at the top of that card. That might be important for somebody. Anyway, this energy is just like, this is deep. It's really deep, because this is like deep core soul stuff, and it's something that keeps repeating over and over and over. We have a winter gestation here, and the message that's being given to me is that you have an opportunity with that clock that was showing up. You have an opportunity now to clear out this cycle, right? To clear out this pattern. If we can get into whatever it is that we're holding on to, whatever it is that we never fully processed or never let go, or maybe didn't have the space to do so, if we can do that for ourselves and take that time and give that to ourselves, we will essentially break this cycle. We'll be able to step through that triangle, right? The triangle is a doorway. Step through that triangle to experience that's why this triangle with the eye, with the sun rays, it's the eye of providence, right? Which is really that, it represents like that prime creation, right? The observation of God creating the universe, because the triangle is a symbol of creation. It's also a symbol of destruction, depending on which way it's pointed in symbology. This is the prime permutation. It's like oh man, okay, it's this soul signature coming out to its full potential. And in order to do so, it has to open up that heart space again. And this heart space is, so for example, this heart space is a scarred space in this soul signature. Every single incarnation, and some evidence of this is going to be the love that we observed when we were really young, right? How did our parents love each other? How did our caretakers love each other? Or was there only one, right? Did they always have bad relationships? There's something about the love signature inside these soul signatures that becomes a theme of wounding. So here we have an initiation. This is where we are crossing the bridge from this, all that we've known about love as a soul, into a different lesson, into a different frequency, right? This thing that we have to figure out, it has been built up over time, and now it's compressed. It's something that's so small and hidden in there because we're so far removed from the event, from the person, from the place, from the thing, whatever it is that we may still be holding on to, that this really does require a deep dive. And that's why they're pulling me so deep into this trance, and why it's so complicated for me. Because it's like, even just me channeling this message, it's like reaching in for that energy. It's so hidden and lodged in there that it's hard for me to even put my finger on what shaped it, what made it, what is it, what is it that we're looking for exactly. And so it may be different for every single person, but it's definitely going to be revolving the heart space, and how this heart space energy is something that is keeping us stuck in a past energy in our love frequency, right? So you may notice that if you can say, yeah, there was this one relationship that really did me in, right? Or it may not even be that. It's that, I look back on it, I'm so fond of, and I see that I have a lot of love for this thing. And, it may not even be about the person anymore. Sometimes it's just about the idea of what you had in the past. That's enough to throw off all the energies that come towards you, right? For example, you might notice that you have repetitious patterns, and those patterns might mimic how this person behaved, or, just it might echo something from that situation. And this right here, it's not speaking to me about any of this. It's that hand trying to reach out for that heart. It's like our subconscious keeps trying to replicate this thing that we are holding on to. In order to stop replicating it and allow the love that the universe has for you to come in, you have to let go of this thing that this subconscious space keeps trying to replicate, right? It's in the past. You have to let it go. So the final card here, for me, this really exemplifies the whole meaning of this reading. We have here this being with wings. They have wings on their head. They have this connection to spirit. They have wings on their arms. They travel the worlds. This is even, straddling the worlds. While he's on this earth here, he's able to reach up. But again, he's reaching for this green planet, that heart space, right? A world of love, something that maybe was in the past. But what he's supposed to be reaching for is right here. And that doesn't mean turn away from the idea of having love in your life. It means that that love that you're looking for is and has always been available. It can't connect with you because there's this searching and this grasping for something that is not part of your reality. It's not meant for you. And we see here he's even clutching his heart, and he's got that wedding band on. So for some of you, this might have been a marriage. This is something that our deep subconscious, our emotional spaces with all that blue, is still married to in some way. And we have to divorce it, right? We have to release it and allow it to be in the past so that we can finally close the door on this repetitive soul signature wounding within the heart space. Your soul has been gestating this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime here. And it's time for this to finally be over so that you can step into a new, more complete version of these soul signatures and of these archetypes. And step into a new story, right? Into a new energy, something that your soul hasn't experienced before. Okay, so that's it. If this message resonates for you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.